Scott says, Can I explain more about the two shared images? Sure, Scott. We talked about this the other day, and this is actually pretty good follow-up to the PBN discussion that we just had, because the reason I posted these was because of the question that somebody asked in the Facebook group about me explaining our PBN strategy with the IFTTT networks. Like, how do we still point PBNs directly at our money sites? And so I had started to describe what we do, and Ken Roberts actually dug these photos up from online and sent them to me, and they were good photos, because this explains exactly what I was trying to say last week. So I posted them here. But basically, what I talk about doing, guys, is if you have PBNs that are highly themed, right? So they're very, very tightly themed around the niche that you're linking to, your money site. So that means they're highly relevant, okay? And they have good metrics. Then you can link from your PBNs directly to your money site. That's fine, as long as you know what you're doing. You've got you've covered your footprint, and you've got highly themed, good metrics on your PBN. Then it's fine to link directly to your money site. However, if you don't, then I would suggest that you only link to Tier 1 properties. Okay, and that's what these photos here are showing. Is, for example, he's showing PBN sites pointing to his Tier 1 site, which would be this circle B here. So in our case, that could be our IFTTT sites, right? Especially our branded network. Okay, because we're going to have a branded network around our money site, right? So we could point. So let's say we have a lower quality PBN, or we've got an older PBN site that we've had that wasn't themed so well. Because remember last year, guys, and 2 years ago, that you'd buy an expired domain, and you'd link all different kinds of content from it. Meaning, it would just be a general blog, and you could do a post about plumbing, and then you could do a post about car insurance, and then you could do a post about red shoes. It didn't matter, right? Because all we were doing was pushing juice. But now it does make a difference, because now if you're that can actually harm your money site if you're pointing a link from a generalized blog like that. Okay, what you want to do now is the private blog network site needs to be highly relevant to the site that it's linking to. Okay, and if it's not, and you have some of these older sites, then you link it to your Tier 1 property instead of directly to the money site. Okay? So that you're not affecting the trust flow of your money site. All right, so that's one way to do it. So if you've got PBNs without the greatest metrics, then that's what I would do. I could repurpose those as Tier 2 links instead of Tier 1 links, right? That's one way to do it. All right, and that's basically what this is showing. The other thing it's talking about here is that now and somebody asked about this last week as well, the Skyfall update, which talks about how Google is looking back all the way out to Tier 3 for links now. So what's important is that you don't want to be linking with exact match anchor text from Tier 1 to your money site. What's really important is branded links and naked URLs, provided that you don't have an exact match anchor. An exact match domain. Because an exact match domain, that's going to count as an exact match anchor when it points to your site. So if you have an exact match domain, it's okay, just be careful. Okay, just be careful with that. Don't use that sparingly. Instead, use brand terms. All right, and then what you do is out at Tier 2, which is pointing to Tier 1. That's when you can start doing a little bit more anchor text. But I still wouldn't do exact match. I'd go more broad and more generic terms. Remember, at Tier 2, you're not going to be really using any brand at all. You could use URL anchors, because it wouldn't make sense to have brand anchors pointing to Tier 1 properties, now would it? Now, it would for your branded Tier 1 network. I hope that's not confusing. But for pointing links to your Facebook page, for example, it would make sense to link to that with a brand, a brand anchor. But what I would suggest here is at this level, at a Tier 3, you would do naked URLs and more general terms, some broader keywords, not exact match keywords, but broader keywords. Because like we talked about last week, if you do your on-page right, you don't need very many at all exact match anchors pointing to your money site. Or pointing to the page to make it rank. The on page is going to rank it for the keyword. You just need some juice to help it rank. All right, so that's what you got to consider when you're link building now, is get your on page right and then push juice, but do it properly. And again, guys, we want to look at trust flow metrics. In my opinion, that is the most important metric right now, trust flow. And so you want to make sure that if there's ways to modify or manipulate trust flow as well, which that's saved for on our next members only webinar. We're talking about that. So